I'm gonna go ahead. So tonight we open this seance circle and we are kind of hoping to make contact with Alex Herman. Um, did he wear a lot of backwards hats?
In a goofy way.
Yeah, because I see somebody like side profile, like kind of like mm, like a backwards hat on.
Yeah, he would do like goofy things like that all the time.
Yeah, like it's almost like a meme. Like reminds me of like a meme stare.
He was a goofball.
Okay. Whew, I think he's here. Did he pass away kind of like tragically? Like really quick, like car accident, sudden, like instant.
It was, we don't know what happened. So his
I'm
mom found him in his
I'm
room.
sorry, he was in his sleep.
Yep.
Okay, I'm sorry. I like anytime I see somebody young like that and like they pass away,
Mm-hmm.
or like it's so quick. It's almost like a premature death, like a death that
Mm-hmm.
really wasn't supposed to happen. I'm always like, car accident, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Have they looked into like brain aneurysm? Like, did they do an autopsy or anything? Is that still being processed?
They did a full autopsy. It came back completely inconclusive. The only guidance they gave anybody was to look at a geneticist to see if it was an electrical current in his heart.
I see the word aneurysm, like, and maybe the electrical current like caused the aneurysm.
Okay.
Um, but it's almost like he's laying there and he's like takes a deep breath. Like he didn't even feel it.
Okay.
He had, and he's saying he's like, I had no idea I was even dead. Like he's showing me like does he have like wooden floors in his mom's house?
Yes.
So he's showing me he still walks around uh,
Mhm.
her house on these like wooden floors.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like
Mhm.
he's still kind of there, like low key. Did he die in her house?
Yeah, it's his parents' house.
Yeah. So
Yep.
he's very much still there. Oops.
This happened like I think this happened in 2016, so it's been some time.
Yeah. Yeah. He's still, so spirit doesn't really understand time.
Okay.
They do not understand time. He said it was like he kind of just like blinked and he was there, but like not there. So if they've ever had like any type of weird experiences, and I mean maybe they don't talk about this because it's very sensitive, it's their son.
Mhm.
And but it does feel like he's still very much there. Like he still visits them. He talks about not wanting to leave. I don't know how serious you guys were at the time of his passing, but he talks about always loving you. Did you guys meet whenever you were young?
So he was my first love.
Oh,
Um, we met when we were 12.
yeah. He's like right off the bat, like I kind of didn't want to give that message first, but he was like, I always loved her. I
Hmm.
always loved her. So if you're ever like were in any doubt that he felt the way that he did, like please know that he always loved you.
We were not on the best terms when he died.
Yeah. Even though like you weren't on the best terms, that doesn't like negate the fact that he still loved you. He still
Okay.
loved you. Did he like play with your hair or something? Like petting or like touching?
Probably.
It's almost like he's showing me like he like played with your hair, like touched you, pet you, something like that. Like he would come in like real close.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um I guess the better way to say it is like his love language was like touch.
Yeah. Yes.
Does that make sense? Because I was
Yeah.
like, what does this mean? That's so fucking vague. Hair twirling. And sometimes that's all spirit can really do. So
Mhm.
he is kind of how I would describe, he's not very like loud, but whenever he gives messages, they're very clear. However, he's like more showing, touching, being
Mhm.
in the space.
Mhm.
Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
it
Like
does.
whenever you felt him, he would like almost take up the space in a room.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much.
He If you felt him watching you, it was because he was watching you. Like that is how he was. How he was. And they're talking about like a really big laugh. Did he have like a big laugh?
He was a very loud person that was very comical and just like over the top.
Yeah, yeah. He's trying to give, I think he's trying to get a lot of validation for you.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but he always loved you. He's also talking about like trying to move on, but it's like difficult. He kind of can't. I don't know. He keeps talking about the parents' house. I don't know, like, is his room untouched over there? Like, is it like he would still be there, kind of?
It wouldn't surprise me.
Because he is talking about it's almost like I see the mom go in there and like sit on the bed and cry every day. It's kind of like her grief holds him there.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because she's not present during the reading. I don't want to like say, you know, but that's he feels kind of stuck there. Um and I think she does feel him there. I think she does. And that's in a way comforting, but I think he's kind of like ready to move on. If you do ever like sense feel him, he still does like come to you. I think he comes to you in dreams mostly. Um and like feeling somebody's coming in and blowing smoke. Did like a grandparent smoke? Did somebody smoke? Like,
So when my grandpa passed away, a big thing that happened after that is my mom said that she would smell his cigarettes everywhere.
yeah, because I see somebody like coming in from behind the boyfriend, and they're not really showing me like facial features or anything, but they're giving me this characteristic where they go
Okay.
almost like I'm trapped in it, like they want me to notice the smoke.
Okay. That could be him. That could very well be him.
Yeah, I think that was your sign. So somebody's coming in with like he sounds like an old man where he was like, that was my signal for whenever I died.
Hmm.
Like kind of wanting to go out in a big way, but like a subtle way. Cause does your mom's name start with a C?
An L.
An L. Okay. I was like, what is this? What is this? But he wanted people to know that he was around.
He was one of those people who are very quiet, but like also he would go into like these moods where he'd be like, look at me, and then like go quiet again.
Yeah, like he's not really saying anything. He's mostly just like keep wanting to like I keep wanting to smoke a cigarette. Like,
That could be him.
um, does your mom smell smoke anymore?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, he passed away in 95, so it's been a while as well. It used to happen a lot shortly after he died.
Yeah. So I think it came around a lot whenever her grief was real, real deep for him. Were they close?
They were getting close.
Yeah. Yeah, because he feels kind of like standoffish, kind of like he wants to show up, but he's like timid. Like he doesn't have a lot to say. Was there like, did she like find this guy? Did he like, there's like a whole thing, right? As to why they weren't as close as they should have been.
A lot of that had to do with my grandma.
Did she not really know who dad could have been, grandma?
Um,
Just didn't want to like they just didn't talk about who the dad was, or I just feel like this guy
yeah.
kind of like wasn't really around much.
So him and my grandma divorced, and she had a lot of animosity towards him
Uh,
because of it. And he moved away, got remarried, and it put a really strain on everything. They still tried to do family things together, but
yeah, but it got hard.
yeah, my grandma always loved him.
Mm,
So it caused a huge issue.
yeah, yeah, because like he's present, he's here, he's there. He definitely watches you guys. Oh, he watches the mom, your mom. I'm sorry, the mom, your mom. I'm looking at him, and he's like, "I'm here." He also talks about having kind of like regrets, like trying to make up for lost time by also like still being present in the spirit world. You've graduated high school and everything, right? Like,
Yes.
because he's talking about being there for your graduate, like watching you graduate.
Me graduating was a big deal. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
He's also saying like, did you guys have like all the family gathered and was like being together, like
uh
people?
a majority of them, yeah.
Yeah, because he like that's the one thing he did mention is like everybody got together and he was there. He was like they're showing me a stage. Like he popped in and watched you walk across the stage. Um and he was there. Like, was your robe like black or white or something? They're showing me like a procession of people in like robes and caps and gowns and
It was a blue robe.
blue. Okay. Okay, okay.
My mom had a black gown when she graduated, though. She graduated from college later on in life and had a black gown.
Had he already passed by then?
Yes, she graduated college when probably in 17. She did much later.
Okay. Because he, like, I saw somebody pass that kind of looked a little bit like you, like the brown hair, but it was like a little curly. But she was like in a darker robe. But then he switched it and mentioned you, like, everybody gathered for you. I was there for you. But I also think he was there for her. Does that make sense? Because he's talking about like having regrets, kind of like trying to replace the time that he lost. It's almost like they got they were getting close, but then it got cut off like
Oh,
really quickly. Was he sick? Did he like have some type of terminal illness?
so
Something
that's
with the lungs?
so he took his own life. Um, and or we think he did. There's been a lot of speculation. He was found hung in his shed. Um, there were some people that weren't a fan of him, but he also seemed to have a little bit of mental problems, and then he also at the time was going to a doctor and he wasn't disclosing anything. So we didn't know if he was sick and maybe that's why he did it.
Did you guys ever find out?
My step grandma never did an autopsy because she just thought he took his life. And he didn't leave a note. There's been no answers.
So I'm hearing that he didn't really have any suicidal ideations. I am hearing that, and I mean, you can take this for what it is, but I'm hearing that he had lung cancer and they gave him like a 6 month time period.
Okay.
That's kind of what I hear because I'm like, I'm looking at him and I'm like, but you don't look sick. And
No, Yeah.
almost like he wanted to die on his terms. Like he didn't want to be sick. And they're using the word fragile. Does that make sense? Does that line up with like his personality of how he was?
Yeah,
The,
definitely.
yeah, like there really wasn't a reason. The reason was that like if he was going to do it, he was going to do it on his terms.
Yeah, he went around and kind of like made amends with a bunch of people before he did it.
Mhm.
But nobody had any idea that anything was happening.
Yeah. Yeah, cuz that is how he wanted it. I'm kind of trying to ask like if there was like a note hidden anywhere or just any type of clues. And I think if you pursue like the doctor's records, if you really want to dig, I mean, you might be like, I'm ready to bury this. Uh, I think it'll be like you'll see it in the doctor's records, but I have no idea if there's like a jurisdiction or anything
Yeah,
on those records.
yeah, I'm not sure. That's something that I've always been curious about though, because it just seemed way too not like him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's really messed my entire family up. So,
Oh, of course. So he's talking about having like anxiety and like PTSD.
okay.
Like, but I don't think this caused like this didn't cause the hanging. Like that didn't he was an anxious person. Was he like a veteran?
No, he was an alcoholic, a recovering alcoholic. He was
Yeah,
a school teacher.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Did he own guns or like firearms or anything?
My great grandpa was a veteran that smoked a lot too.
Yeah, because now somebody is coming in and showing me like a firearm and like they were in the military. Oh, so okay, if we take it back to because I'm trying to figure out like where this like if this man had no mental issues, where is the catalyst? Where does this stem from, right? Because you can't take a perfectly normal person and just say that they have mental issues if
Mhm.
essentially they had a normal life, right? Nothing really bad happened to them. And I feel like this is kind of this weird generational trauma that has been carried on through the dad side.
Okay.
Like I think great grandpa kind of like came back and was a little fucked up. By the time it got to your dad, I don't know if you he's talking about having like abuse and like kind of suffering a little bit as a kid. I don't know if he was ever public with that information.
I know his dad was pretty, he was a heavy drunk and he was pretty abusive.
Yeah. And it's almost like it follows, like that pattern of behavior follows
Okay.
them.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Hmm. Yeah.
For kind of how the men, and I don't know why, but it's just the men. I have no idea why. It's just the men.
Just the men.
Because your mom's not like that, and she is not to blame for that. For how he passed away, if she like carries any blame, like
Yeah.
that wasn't that wasn't her fault. That there really wasn't anything anybody could have done. He was dying anyway. Um, he was drunk because he was abused as a kid, and that was the way he kind of held that. But otherwise, was he generally just like happy? Like when he wasn't drinking, whenever he wasn't inebriated.
Yeah, they said that he had a lot of highs and lows.
Yeah. Like, whenever he shows me, like, a happy face, he's like, creepy happy. But then whenever he seems down, he seems real down.
Yeah, that's kind of what they've said. He
Yeah.
would go manic and then go down.
It sounds almost like he's a little bipolar, a little bit.
That's kind of what people have thought maybe triggered what he did, but
I don't think that's what it was. I think he was sick. He was sick and he didn't tell anybody. But I don't think like his mental health played a part in how ultimately things played out for him.
okay.
I think he was it looked like that and he knew it was going to look like that, but that's also a reason why he didn't leave a note. It was almost like he's like, I don't think they're going to believe me anyway, so what the fuck is the point?
That would make a lot of sense.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. It really wasn't anybody's fault that what happened to him, and there really isn't no anybody to blame. Is there a lot of fighting about this, about his death?
um
Or like was there? Like it just seems
I mean, it really tore everybody. Um, like my mom hasn't been able to be a mom since it happened. Um, it it's really like torn the family apart. Uh,
mhm,
his wife won't be in contact with anybody anymore. She found him and she found her first husband. So she disconnect her first husband died in her arms too, and then she found him. So there's been a lot of issues in that department as well as like the emotional and nobody been able to get over it and or understand it.
yeah, yeah. Um, I don't want you to let this define you personally,
No, I didn't know him. I was 3 months old when he died. So
but that death still affects you if your mom can't be your mom. Like if she can't show up for you because she's stuck there
yeah,
mentally, you know? So even
yeah,
though you don't know them, like that kind of generational trauma, what I was talking about from the dad's side, still kind of followed followed down. It just kind of morphed into a different pattern. Um, so I don't want you to be defined by this guy's choice. It was going to happen one way or another, and he does talk about like just having a lot of regrets, like having missing time. Um, and then he talks about people like not hearing him clearly, and I think that had to do with like the mental illness, like the it was almost like he felt like he was in a dysmorphia, like he didn't feel like himself.
okay.
He felt like he didn't look like himself, didn't feel like himself whenever he was having those episodes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So, but he does come around. He especially watches your mother. He's not really mentioning the wife. Um, okay, he's correcting me. He does go to the first one. He had a wife before the wife that found him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. He said he loved the first one, not her. I don't know if the second wife was like a marriage of convenience or what it was.
I'm not sure, but that's interesting.
I don't know.
That's interesting.
But he goes and visits your mom. He has watched you like graduate. He's watched you kind of grow up. Like he is around you.
Okay.
And he's also making a connection that like you and him are not the same. You are different. You're on a different path. And somebody's coming in. I think your spirit guides are trying to come in and saying like you are on a different path. And that is why you're kind of, I don't know if you've struggled with feeling alone or loneliness, but that is why you're kind of in this solitary spot because you are like, you're connected to this family, but I see you kind of break away. Like their trauma is not your trauma. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense,
Even
actually.
though you have been generationally affected by, unfortunately, multiple men's bullshit, um, that is not yours to hold anymore. Okay. And
Mhm.
there's no point to being confused or continuing to look because this is it. This is kind of the answer that is given, right?
Mhm.
Um, but he is around. He is around. Does that make sense?
Yes.
We are at the
Okay.
last few minutes, our 10-minute mark. I did pull some cards for you.
Okay.
Is that okay if I go into those right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you pulled the hermaphrodite. Say yes to more opportunities that come your way this last month and into the new year.
Okay.
That's a really good manifestation card for you. And just kind of maneuvering past this, and trying to find like a sense of peace.
Okay.
People are around you and they do still like hold love for you, even though you didn't get exactly the relationships you may have wanted or deserved out of that.
Mhm.
They're still with you. Like spirit never really leaves us. And the boyfriend's coming back and talking about he misses you. But they're also mentioning like kind of like he missed you a little too late. Like he just didn't say everything that he wanted to say because he thought he could just talk to you again, like
Mhm.
another time. And so I think that does kind of hold some weight there. Did you guys write letters or anything? Because they're showing me
Mm,
like letters, or have you written him a letter? Like just kind of say what you wanted.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He's talking about hearing the letter. Like, I don't know if you read it or heard like anything like that. But he's talking about like he knows about the letter, like you like wrote
Okay.
um, a letter to him.
Okay.
Um, but Nine of Swords, also sorry, he swooped back in to give you just a little bit more. But Nine of Swords talks a lot about our mental state and everything and how maybe like we haven't been having the best time as of lately. I just want you to take some deep breaths, especially this holiday season. I feel like maybe we're missing him a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, when is the anniversary of his death? Is it like
It's August.
August? Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, but I mean, still, this time of year is not a
Yeah.
fun time.
It's
Uh,
also the first year without another grandpa of mine that passed away. So that's a big thing for my family.
yeah. Yeah. Um, and I'm so sorry that you have been slotted with all of this like loss. Um, but I want you to do things that like kind of focus on your happiness because loss is going to be a repeated theme that kind of like comes up for you. However, the difference between your family and you is like, I don't know if you know this, but like a superpower of yours is just being able to hold that in a different container. Like that loss doesn't take over your entire body. It doesn't take over your entire personality.
Mhm.
Um, you're stronger than you think, and you're stronger than you know.
Okay.
Um, but for you moving forward, you did pull imagining more and imagining more. That talks a lot about kind of like what would your life look like if you could have the life that you wanted? How would you fill that void? How could you bring that forward? Right.
Mhm.
I think, especially because you're dealing with so much loss, that would kind of be a good thing to focus on moving forward because, if you stay stuck here with all of that, then you're going to miss these opportunities that the universe naturally starts to bring you.
Okay.
Um, this is not a dream. It's going to be important that you don't stifle your grief. Like we feel our feelings.
Mhm.
We can't feel our feelings with like food or addiction or, just ignoring them altogether. You really do like need to allow yourself to grieve, to process this because as you grieve this loss, the other losses will come in.
Mhm.
They'll kind of like tidal wave you a little bit.
Mhm.
And it's okay. That's normal. That's natural. Um, and take some time to, just remember them how they were.
Mhm.
And protect your ecosystem is going to be the last one. Don't let energy vampires kind of fuck around on you. That bullshit alone. You need to protect yourself, especially right now, since you are kind of in a more vulnerable state. Don't let people misuse your time, especially right now, because you only need people that are going to be supportive of you in your time. And this can also be family members, active family members that you have right now.
Mhm.
Don't let people use and abuse you. And this could be mentally, emotionally, with guilt,
Mhm.
little minuscule comments about bullshit things, just to piss you off. Because they
Mhm.
be like, I think you're like, yes, I know, I'm dealing.
I
Um,
know.
so spirit really wants you to like put some boundaries down and kind of protect you for you.
Okay.
But anyway, that was the reading. I hope you
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I did. I think I got everybody that we wanted.
Yeah, you did. Perfect.
um, if you have any follow-up questions after the reading closes, like you can message me. I'll be on the road tomorrow,
Okay.
but I'll be able to get back to you.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Do you have anything else that you need before we wrap up?
I don't think so. Not right now, at least.
Okay. Well, you're going to get a copy of this reading sent to your email. So please send me your email if you haven't already. I'm going to look back at our messages
I,
and see.
I believe I did.
Okay, good. And then you'll get the PDF journal for you to listen to. But this
Oh,
reading is yours to keep forever and ever and always.
thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm going to send you a picture of your cards pulled.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. Good
Yeah.
night.